evening along the streets of the port of Keelung, the Taiwanese enjoy their seafood. This specialty, usually white or cream-colored, looks like tofu, the Japanese soybean curd. Cooked with carrots, onions, garlic, and chili pepper, this is one of the Taiwanese favorite dishes, shark. Not just any shark, but one of the most beautiful, mysterious, and majestic. The whale shark.
Delicious. Yeah, delicious.
It's the most beautiful shark of all. It would win first prize in a beauty contest. Its color, its striped and spotted markings are magnificent and make it very special. What is also remarkable is its character. It's not aggressive. It only eats very small fish or plankton that it filters from the water. Its size is amazing. The biggest one I saw about 15 years ago must have been about 20 meters long and weighed about 14 tons. It was huge. As our research progressed, we discovered that the whale shark was an endangered species. It's time to protect it.
The jagged coast of Taiwan is 150 kilometers from China. To the north, a dragon watches over the island's main port, Keelung. Professor Zhong teaches here at the National University of Oceanography. Over the last 12 years, he's specialized in shark studies. His students follow a 4-year course, which will allow them to work in the fields of fishing, research, and marine ecology. Today's class is on the bones and jaws of the tiger shark and the great white shark.
As I continued my research, I became more and more interested in the whale shark and made it my speciality. The Taiwanese are quite aware of the importance of protecting marine life, especially over the last 15 years when fishermen started killing dolphins and other marine mammals. Since then, we have concentrated on the protection of all animal species and getting laws passed that will ensure their protection.
Scientists are intrigued by the whale shark because little is known about this species. At the University of Oceanography of Taiwan, there is a study of the animal's migration habits. Professor Zhong directs this program. With the aid of a satellite-guided tracking device, the professor and his team can follow the whale sharks throughout the China Sea, north to south, from Japan to the Philippines.
The purpose of this device is to collect information on the whale shark through the course of a year. That's why we hope it stays in place as long as possible. That way we'll be able to trace the shark's seasonal migration routes. Tracking devices like these are also used in Australia, and a US team based in the Philippines is doing the same work. Perhaps one day we'll be able to pool our findings and have all the missing pieces to the puzzle. Obviously, if we want to observe the whale shark, it must be alive and well. We are in contact with an entire network of fishermen. As soon as a whale shark is caught in their nets, they inform us, and our team immediately goes over to tag the animal.
But the professor is not always informed when a whale shark is caught. Along the coast of Taiwan at Hualien are kilometers of netting to trap these fish. Today, a 4 to 5 meter long whale shark has become entangled in the netting. It's a 2-year-old female, and its movements are particularly awkward. She She has a scar on her back, and her dorsal fin is missing, perhaps eaten by a tiger shark or sliced off by a fisherman who afterward released her. A whale shark's dorsal fin is worth as much as 20,000 euros on the Hong Kong market. Her fate is now in the hands of the net's owner, Mr. Huang.
She's beautiful and healthy. She's gained weight. She isn't as afraid today.
We could call her Cha-Cha.
Yes, Cha-Cha is a very good name.
Cha-Cha means success, success. With a name like that, we can't lose.
Cha-Cha is indeed lucky. She won't be eaten. A Taiwan aquarium is interested in her.
I'm always very happy when I catch a whale shark. I already sold one to an aquarium in Japan, and it was raised in excellent conditions. I hope this one will be very happy and find a good home.
For an aquarium, the whale shark is a very good investment. The animal reaches adulthood at the age of 15. This one is only 2 years old, but already weighs over 800 kilos. The question is how to lift her out of the water. 250 kilometers to the south is the country's biggest attraction, a gigantic aquarium, the third largest in the world after Okinawa and Osaka. Here in Pingtong, over 2 million visitors a year will visit the aquarium to discover the fauna of the China Sea. Close to 800 different species, but also some extremely rare fish from far across the world. Through the 25 meters of this underwater tunnel, we can observe the belugas. The aquarium often takes animals that have been wounded in fishing nets or by fishing lines, like these marine turtles, whose capture is forbidden. After receiving care, they are returned to the sea. And some spend time in this gigantic basin, 16 meters large and 5 meters high. About 100 barrier nets surround the island. The fish are caught as they follow the Kuroshibo Current of the China Sea. It flows along the eastern coast of Taiwan and is filled with nutrients.
Fish of all kinds abound here, and sharks too. There are a lot of sharks in the waters of Taiwan. They get caught in the nets and are brought back to port and sold on the fish markets. Most of the fish are caught over there, you see, close to that point on the eastern coast of the island. The whale sharks are known to pass through there. They swim along the coast, but their migratory routes are difficult to comprehend.
The professor often visits the fishing traps. The fishermen have become his friends, and thanks to them, he has managed to implant tracking devices on 2 whale sharks. Little by little, the research progresses.
Did you get a whale shark?
No, there aren't any today.
The fishermen who own these nets are very rich. They catch a lot of fish. Business is great for them. In fact, it's so good that there's nothing left for the smaller fishing boats. So there is an outcry against this injustice by the owners of the smaller boats. But the net owners don't see it that way. They see that their nets are so expensive that it takes a long time for them to make a profit. I hope that in a few years from now there will be a ban on the capture of whale sharks, like there is in other countries. But until then, the whale sharks will keep getting caught in the nets. The Fishing Bureau has appointed a commission to regulate the capture of whale sharks. I myself am a member of that commission. We're trying to establish if the fishermen would be willing to release the whale sharks in exchange for a government indemnity.
The island's important fishing port of Suao harbors 123 small fishing boats that catch tuna, swordfish, sea bream, and shark. The fishermen from around here used to harpoon the whale sharks, but that's very rare now that most of these animals are caught by the nets. If fishing isn't altogether banned, it has considerably decreased under international pressure and Professor Zhuang's force of persuasion. The Fishing Guild's president, Mr. Haong, has clearly noticed the whale sharks regularly decreasing.
We're ready to come to some kind of agreement with the Fishing Bureau. Although, as a fisherman, it's not in my interest to limit fishing. I wouldn't want the species to disappear. The catch has diminished greatly in the last few years. In China, fishing is neither banned nor limited. In Taiwan, we have limited the fishing, so that's already a good start.
Surrounded by the China Sea, Taiwan is only 100 kilometers large and 400 kilometers long. It is tremendously overpopulated. Its 22 million inhabitants make it one of the most densely populated areas in the world. Known as the Silicon Valley of Asia, the island has the tallest building in the world, 510 meters high. But Taipei, the capital of the island, remains an extraordinary mixture of modernity and traditions, including Portuguese, Japanese, and Chinese. In the downtown markets, one can find an endless amount of anything. But Taiwan is mainly renowned for its food to seekers of rare and expensive delicacies. The most subtle of teas and herbs as delicate as they are exotic. Rhinoceros horns said to be aphrodisiacs, 100-year-old eggs, seahorses, deer antlers, and of course, shark fins of all kinds. A little further along, you can have this item served up any way you like, in a soup, fried, plain, spicy, or grilled. Not so long ago in Taiwan restaurants, one could still order dolphin steaks, but dolphin fishing is completely banned now. Professor Zhuang often roams around the market stalls. He tries to find out where the whale shark was captured. He also notes down the quantities made available.
Several environmental organizations criticize Taiwan for being the only country in the world where the whale shark is eaten. Whale shark has become a very prized dish, but only over the last 5 years. People didn't eat much whale shark before. It all has to do with a higher standard of living that incites people to crave whatever is new and unusual. Or maybe it has to do with a certain snob appeal. The media also did a lot to sell people on whale shark.
Here is some whale shark. It was fished off the port of Swao. It's wonderful, cooked with onions. It's really delicious. I think I had some once, made with ginger. Yes, it sells very well. The customers love it. It's quite tender.
No, I don't like it very much.
If you take a closer look at this whale shark, you'll notice that it has a vibrant shimmer to it. See how shiny this meat is? That means it's fresh. It can't be more than a week old. If it had been frozen, it wouldn't look like this. It seems very fresh. In Taiwan, the fishermen are only allowed to capture 80 whale sharks a year. This quota doesn't meet the islanders' consumption, so it's obvious that a lot of it comes from other countries.
Taiwan, a mountain rising from the sea, what once was Formosa. Named by the Portuguese, who were so taken by the beauty when they landed that they called it Formosa, which means the formidable island. We return to the prisoner of the nets in Hualien. How is this female to be fed until it can be transferred to the aquarium? The whale sharks filter seawater and only swallow plankton, euphausids, or very small fish. Impossible for this animal to go without food for too long. So every day, an aquarium assistant delivers her meal.
It's a mixture of little peeled shrimp with chopped sardines. 60 kilos per meal, twice a day. She accepts the food. She seems to know what's going on. She comes right up close to us. She's not frightened at all. The chances for survival of a whale shark depend on how it's captured. If they're the wrong nets, it's a disaster. But while waiting to be transferred, food is the most important thing. Unfortunately, a lot of it drops to the bottom before she can get to it.
There's so much I still don't know about whale sharks. Why do they come to Taiwan, for example? What exactly do we know about them? What routes do they take and according to which seasons? Many uncertainties persist, but for most researchers, the one thing we're sure of is that the species is in danger of extinction.
Professor Zhuang and his team have already tagged 2 whale sharks. The first one was traced for 3 weeks, the second for only 8 days, not nearly long enough to come to any scientific conclusions about their migration. So observation must be continued.
As the research goes on, we get a certain pleasure from each discovery. I often say to my students, if you don't have the capacity for wonder and you aren't getting any pleasure, then you should stop working. Even a small discovery can bring enormous satisfaction.
Mr. Huang, Cha-Cha's captor, business is booming. Once they've been set up, the nets are very profitable all year round. These set nets are a traditional Japanese fishing technique used for over a century. With time, it has been perfected, but remains a very expensive means of fishing. Each net costing over 60,000 euros. For the net's owner, it's a huge investment that must bring maximum return. So Mr. Huang carefully inspects and writes down the content of each basket.
The nets are more than 300 meters long. The fish are stopped by this barrier that acts as a dam according to the direction of the currents. They continue on through and become trapped. There are 4 sections to it. Once it's in the last section, that's it. The fish can never find its way out.
Today, 100 nets have been set up around the island. That is the maximum authorized number.
Cha-Cha must be about a year old. She's still a baby. Of course, the bigger the whale sharks are, the better. To do good business, I don't have to catch many if they're big enough. I sell it live, first of all because I like the animal, but also because the more it grows, the more it's worth. I also want to protect endangered species. I love nature. There are good customers all over the world. If we sell to Americans, we get a very good deal. The fishermen don't want to kill at all costs. The whale shark can still bring in a lot of money, even if we don't kill it.
Return to port. It is here around Suao that most of the sharks are caught. Every year, the island waters yield between 400,000 and 500,000 tons of all kinds of sharks. Fishing is a vital part of the economy of Taiwan. Eating shark is a very ancient tradition in Taiwan. Shark bones dating back 5,000 years have been discovered, proving that this tradition goes back to ancestral times. Of course, unlike Westerners, the Taiwanese are not revulsed by the idea of eating this shark, and at least for now, there is no question of protecting this animal. The professor tirelessly visits all of the fishing ports in search of his dream fish. Here, the largest shark auction takes place, attracting buyers, wholesalers, and restaurant owners from all over the island.
I think that foreigners often don't understand why the Taiwanese eat whale shark and other fish that are not farmed. Westerners think we eat many strange things. In fact, anything that moves. But this can be positive. From an ecological point of view, it seems to me to make more sense to eat a number of species than deplete just one.
Dozens of tiger sharks, black-tip reef sharks, and hammerhead sharks are ready to be cut up and sold. Taiwan is poor in natural resources and for some decades has had a troubled economy. When it comes to sharks, nothing goes to waste.
It's true that numerous animal rights organizations condemn the fishermen. Often, having cut off the shark's fins, they throw away the rest of the animal. Personally, I can't accept such practices. In Taiwan, we're used to eating everything. Everything is good to eat, including the entrails. So I'm opposed to such waste. These are shark fetuses. Even though they don't all look the same, they're all hammerhead sharks, this one too. They're different colors, but they're all the same species. When their mother's belly was open, they fell out. They won't go to waste either, they'll be eaten. There are many recipes for cooking them. People really like them.
Suddenly, among the rest of the catch, a whale shark. The 65th of the year. It's a small one, only 3 meters long. Before imposing a definitive ban on whale shark fishing, the professor would like to establish a minimum catch size, a proposition that is at a standstill for now.
It's in Taipei that whale shark sells best. The prices are really high, but people have enough money to afford it.
I've got lots of orders. I'm in contact every day with different buyers. Today they called me to find out what types and what quantities of sharks are still available. Unfortunately, the whale shark has become rarer and much smaller.
The whale shark is not a shy animal. The fishermen nicknamed it the gentle giant because it didn't try to escape when a boat approached it. I think that in the past, some fishermen were afraid of this shark because they weren't familiar with it, and the boats that they used at that time were much too small and weren't equipped to catch such huge fish. The fishermen used to compare the whale shark with the size of their boats. Whoever caught a whale shark that was longer than his boat became a hero. The newspapers published photos of him with his trophy. It was as if he'd won an epic battle with the sea.
战胜这个野生物了哈。
At Hualien train station, Mr. Yang, the director of the Pingtong Aquarium, is overseeing preparations for hauling the whale shark out of the sea. The shark is to travel by train in a container filled with seawater, but there are still problems to be solved.
The train will leave at 11 p.m. and it will take about 7 hours. We've programmed to stop midway to change the seawater. Then we have to make sure the water trucks and crane are in place when she gets there.
Mr. Yang is nervous. This is his third attempt to transport a whale shark, but both times before the animal died in transit. This time nothing will be left to chance.
This is not a dream, it's the culmination of a plan. We've put together all the right conditions for the transport. An ideal sized container, the right temperature, pH, and oxygen levels of the water. Our team has been in preparation for more than 3 years. We're experts in this kind of transport, but we have a maximum of 12 hours to move this shark.
At Hualien Port, the team from the aquarium is testing the canvas sheet that will have to support the shark's 800 kilos, and there is much difference of opinion about the best way to proceed.
It's going to be impossible to lift all this. The wind will destabilize everything. It's too dangerous. Don't pull on her like that, you'll break one of her joints. You have to pull on the tail. We'll cover her. A little like a wonton, okay?
Yes, okay, we can do it like that.
We should also use a large plank.
The event is covered by the local press. The aquarium press agent explains to the journalists that obviously the aquarium would rather receive a live shark than a dead one.
In my opinion, this isn't going to work at all. You're going to break her spinal column.
Meanwhile, Mr. Yang is trying to make himself understood.
Why are you doing that? You're driving me crazy. I told you yesterday you have to put a plank underneath. Maybe we should use a wool rug to maintain the moisture.
No, we're going to kill her like this. It's better to lift her gradually.
The owner of the net, the director of the aquarium, and the district mayor have improvised a ceremony with a plastic whale shark to immortalize the glorious catch of the biggest fish of all. At 2 p.m., the entire team from the aquarium is in place. The whole operation seems very risky, and everyone is worried about the animal. Can she be kept alive during the long journey? An hour later, the men succeed in getting the animal onto the sheet. The shark risks damaging its eyes against the sides of the container. The team attempts to shield her head with neoprene plastic.
It's exactly 3 p.m. and the whale shark is out of the water and on its way to Hualien port.
For Mr. Huang, the fisherman, it's a terrific deal. He sells his whale shark to the aquarium for 5,000 euros.
正面的意义了哈，不管怎么
Over the
样。
last few years, the Taiwan aquariums have wanted to display the whale shark, and this entails knowing the best methods of raising them. This, of course, allows people to get close up to whale sharks, to get to know them. It's a learning experience, and that's good.
很近的距离就可以看到豆腐鲨，哦，这是一个。
But shutting away a whale shark in an aquarium isn't humane.
当然我们
I believe the ideal solution would be to localize the sharks and allow the public to go see them in their natural
可
environment.
能是最好的。
At 7 p.m., the shark container is loaded onto a truck headed for the Hualien train station.
Mr. Yang, when will the shark arrive at the aquarium?
If all goes well, tomorrow morning at 4.
The Pingtong Aquarium is on the south side of the island, 250 kilometers away. Of course, other ways of transporting this shark were considered. First by truck alone, but the winding mountain roads might have been fatal to her. Then by boat. A minimum of 2 days on the open sea is too long and too risky in case of bad weather. Finally, the train and truck solution seemed to pose the fewest problems. But it will be necessary to stop midway to change the seawater. Getting the shark from the sea to the aquarium will take 13 hours. This is very long because the shark, already weakened by her captivity in the nets, is in risk of not surviving either the trip or the transfers. The shark arrives at Hualien Station at 9 p.m. The whale shark is especially sensitive to the quality of water in which it lives. And in order to breathe properly, all sharks have to be in constant motion. In this crate, she will rapidly become exhausted, so the water must be changed and, above all, oxygenated. At 5 a.m., this unusual cargo arrives at the station closest to the aquarium, and water trucks filled with fresh seawater are ready to refill the container. Now, all that remains is to transfer the animal onto a truck, which will take her to her final destination. It's now 6 in the morning, and Cha-Cha is hardly moving. The race against the clock is almost over. The last step is to hoist the shark into the aquarium basin. last, after 17 hours of travel, this beautiful animal is delicately pushed into the aquarium. Cha-Cha has survived and is about to discover her new prison, where to entertain the visitors, she'll go round in circles for dozens of years. Professor Zhuang would have liked to buy this whale shark, but with his limited means he couldn't afford her. But never mind, he will continue to fight to save this species in his own way.
Over the last few years, we've established quotas to limit the fishing of whale sharks, but it's still too early to tell if they're being respected. Some fishermen have already tried to avoid declaring their catches, but they aren't aware of what's at stake in protecting this animal from extinction.
Like everything that sells at a high price, there's a black market in whale sharks. At night, frozen in the holds of boats, they arrive from China, from the island of Hainan, from India or the Philippines, and are clandestinely sold in Taiwan. Shark meat, a much appreciated delicacy, can be found in many of the small restaurants in Taiwan.
Eating habits aren't easy to change, but we have to inform people that the species is in danger, that they can't continue to eat whale shark, and it will have to be taken off the menu in restaurants.
This is a shark whale eye. That shark was very big.
A few days later, the professor's patience is rewarded. At last, he receives the news he's been waiting for.
This morning they informed me that a whale shark is trapped in the sea basin near Tonghao. Its size suits us perfectly, and it doesn't weigh more than a ton. I'm a little worried about everything going right with this operation. There are so many small details, but my main concern is the satellite liaison. Will it work this time?
The professor will now be able to tag his third whale shark. These tags are very expensive, with a transmitter that costs around 4,000 euros. Satellite use and data processing also have to be paid for.
There are the nets.
In addition, the fishermen have to be compensated so that they don't sell their sharks as food.
This is a great day. It's a lucky day. The closer we get, the happier I am. I've waited for 1.5 years for a whale shark. Finally, we'll be able to implant a transmitter. I've been waiting for this for such a long time.
The university is able to pay for this whale shark. In total, the whole project will cost 200,000 euros.
The shark is right here. I'm very impatient. I won't believe it till I see it. I have to see that it's really in the net.
For 10 years, Professor Zhuang has tried to have international laws concerning the whale shark implemented here. In November 2002, the whale shark and the pilgrim shark were put on the list of endangered species by the CITES Convention. In Malaysia, the Philippines, Australia, Mexico, and in the US, the fishing of these species is prohibited. Taiwan remains the last country in the world to allow this practice. The professor's battle is far from over. First, the device has to be implanted on the animal's back. A sort of non-retractable arrowhead is implanted 15 centimeters into the skin of the shark. The transmitter is attached to this by 10 meters of cable so that it floats. When the shark approaches the surface, the transmitter beams its location to the satellite. Thus, bit by bit, precious information about the migration routes of the shark is collected. Since being tagged, this whale shark is still sending signals. It's been pinpointed 800 miles east of Taiwan. For the professor, this is already a great satisfaction, and it's one more step towards getting to know this mysterious and fascinating animal.